We live in a very interesting time where you see constant conflict, you see different types of ideologies, different types of perceptions, different types of people that are forced to interact with each other. And I know that some people don't some people don't really believe, that we're divine sparks trapped by the demiurge, which is crazy because you can see it all around. You can see that certain people have a propensity to create and to innovate and to escalate, yet they're sabotaged and yet they're not able to create things that can benefit everybody. How many times have you heard about scientists finding the cure for different types of diseases, finding free energy technological advancements and augmentations? You find different types of people that claim to be able to heal this disease or claim to be able to heal this disease. And if there's any truth or validity or viability to their statements into their research or projects, the government comes in, steals you know the information, steals whatever technology that was created, and then lie and say it never happened. And then they classify it behind security classifications and verifications and authentications. So that way you're not able to see it. And then they'll tell you that it's not true. But it's crazy because they'll be like, okay, now provide evidence. And they know that they hid the evidence behind security classifications. You see, there's a thing called the Non-States Secret Act. And the Non-State Secret Act says this: if you obtain any type of classified information and you try to present it in court, you will be arrested. It's called the Non-State Secret Act. So let me give you an example. An example is if you go into Area 51 and you take video of a clone lab, you take video of aliens, you take videos of all types of spaceships they have underground, or maybe hell, maybe you go to a secret moon CIA psychological division moon base. I'm serious. Maybe you go to a moon base that's classified and you're supposed to know, and you take a video of it and you try to bring it back. Somehow you come back to Earth, or whatever it is, something that's secret that you're not supposed to know. Maybe you find another Epstein party going on, in some secret castle somewhere, and the castle or the mansion could be underground. You would never know. There's a company called the Randstad Corporation, or the RAND Corporation, that creates underground facilities and installations, among others. But let's say if you have this classified information, you present it to court. The Non-State Secret Act says you'll be arrested. Not the evil, illegal activities that are classified. They're not going to be persecuted or, get in trouble or arrested. You will be in trouble. So that shows you that in this world, there's an invisible ceiling of truth, meaning that if you know the truth, if you know something and you try to present it to this lying world, they're going to attack you for telling the truth, right? You can feel it in your bones. You can feel it in your spirit that this world is not right. There's something off. There's something off-putting. There's something wrong. Everywhere they're lying to you. I mean, just look at this world. Like, lies are the world. Look at these advertisements. Have you ever seen a McDonald's advertisement and you look at the cheeseburger or whatever? You're like, yeah, that looks good. And then you actually get the cheeseburger, depending on what area you're in, like in a lot of socially economically deprived areas, the cheeseburgers all thrown together any type of way, there's no sauce on it. The cheese looks old, the burger's warm, and you go to another certain area, then it's fresh and it almost looks exactly as the advertisement, but it's not exactly the same, right? Isn't that a falsehood? Or video games, for instance. I can't believe they don't have E3 no more. Like, wow, man, I wish Total Biscuit was alive to see this. Man, if Total Biscuit was alive to see this, he would chew up the video game industry. He will eviscerate them for what they have done. The video game industry got even more greedy. But when you look at this world, creativity is something that's always destroyed. How many times, whether in video game companies, whether in food companies, whether in any type of infrastructure, where the good people get kicked out and now they're being replaced by evil people and artificial intelligence augmentations? The acceleration of this technological advancement, the proliferation of artificial intelligence is going to be the destruction of humankind. I'm not saying that AI is just bad automatically. What I'm saying, the utilization and integration by artificial intelligence done by nefarious forces, that's the problem. When somebody presents something to you and it starts immediately taking away people's jobs and livelihoods, it makes things a lot more quote unquote easier, but in correlation, it deteriorates your brain. Meaning that if you use your AI for everything, then you're not going to be able to you're going to forget how to spell words. You're going to get how to how to flow. You're going to forget how to write books. Like, that's why, bro. I'm not really a big fan of artificial intelligence. I'm old school, you know. Give me a pen and give me a piece of paper, you know, and then my mind can do the rest. You know what I mean? I'm a very creative person when it comes to creating things. I love creating. I want to get paid. I want to be able to create full time, you know, like, you know. But with artificial intelligence, you can see that even though technology gets more advanced, you can see like Generation Z or Generation, what was it called? Generation Alpha. A lot of them can't read. I was shocked. I was like, they can't read. What the hell? You know, like it's interesting, right? And you got to look at the world as a big old prison and a big old trap. I don't know how many, like, how can people not see it? That's how I know, you know, as Schizo Dump says so eloquently, there's Hylics and there's NPCs. How are some people, how can the truth be in front of their faces and they just don't see it? And also, one thing I learned about life is like, it's not what you're really saying, it's who's saying it. If I was a pretty European female, this channel would have like 100,000 subscribers easily. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you make videos damn near every day. You know, you make beats, you make raps. You know, you got another channel where you talk about esoteric secrets. You know how interesting that is. You know, I never looked at it like that, but I am a very interesting person. I never noticed that because I'm just me. You know, but on the outside looking in, or yeah, you know, I'm quite unique, but it's not unique in a good way because you don't see my subscriber count jumping to 10,000 subscribers and I'm getting hundreds of thousands. I don't get that many views like that. My channel never really got big views like that. You know, even when I was on my other channel, I mean, it was decent, you know, but it was never meant about views for me. Like people that listen to me, like, I'm looking at my average view duration watch time. I'm like, people are spending like 15 minutes on my videos. I'm like, damn, you know, people are spending over 10 minutes like listening to me speak, you know, and I'm just like, whoa. I wish people could listen to me rap and make beats. You know what I mean? And look at the books that I write. You know, like I never ever could imagine that I would ever have a following in any sort of way. You know, I never thought I was important, but I must be. Somebody told me it's like you're more popular than what you realize, and I'm like, really? Well, it's not showing in the money. It's not showing in my life. It's funny how somebody can think somebody has clout or has fame or fortune, and this person's homeless. You know, like it's crazy. I'm just a regular average day Joe, bro. There's nothing really, you know, well, I don't know. I guess you let the world decide, right? If you're unique or special. But what I'm saying is that the world that we live in today, it's really designed to just break down your mind. It's really designed to break down any type of creative confidence that you have or want to achieve, you know, and combine that with not having sexual alleviation. And then you have social isolation, and then you have social degradation, meaning that the more you isolate yourself from the room, the more you don't have any girls, the more you know, just go through things and you go through poverty situations that lowers your confidence. Have you ever been like, I remember this one time, you know, it's about a few years. This is my grandma was alive and all that. And I was in a different state. And I remember I remember being a NEET for a while. I remember like going through this, like something happened, you know, and I was in a little depression, right? It was like a 7 month long, really depression. And I remember just, you know, trying to go to this tip agency and get a job. And when I went in there, I felt so awkward, you know, like at first it was weird when you got to throw on first it's weird waking up early in the morning if you're a NEET, and then you putting on the uniform, putting on your cologne, brushing your teeth, taking a shower, doing all that to look good. And then you go to the interview, or like as you're going to the interview, however you get there, whether somebody drops you off or you catch the bus or you ride a bike, whatever, how you get there. On the way there, you're nervous, you're scared, you don't know what they're going to say to you. You don't know if they're going to, you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know if there's any going to be cute girls. Like, you don't know anything. And you go there to the interview and you see a bunch of people waiting. It's like, damn. And everybody's trying to dress nice and be on their best behavior. And then you always got that one guy who tries to like turn the interview into some type of game. Like he's like the most loudest or boisterous, you know, thinking, you know, and it's just like, and then you go and sit down and interview. It just feels weird to be surrounded by people if you isolate yourself for so long, you know. And a lot of people probably don't understand that because we are a very rare breed. It's us hikikomori, you know, or as homeless people that, you know, are in poverty-stricken positions. You know, like what I mean rare breed is that society would never accept us. Society would never accept our perceptions on life. We see the truth. We see that the world it's rigged. It doesn't matter how hard you work, bro. You can work your hardest. But if this God, this demiurge doesn't want you to make it, you won't make it. You don't believe me, you try it. I want you to try for the next 10 years to do something and think that I'm lying. Think that, oh, ain't no demiurge. I'm not lying, bro. I'm telling you the truth. You know, you can see it in your own life. If I'm telling you something and you can see the patterns in your own life without me, I don't even have to be there. You can see it in your life. You can see that when these events happen in your life, they seem orchestrated. They seem like there's something that's planning this. It's something you can't see, something you can't touch, something you can't feel. And this God is evil. Read your Christian Bibles. You can see that this being, it orchestrates things to be a certain way so you can be at a low vibrational frequency. So you can have a negative energetic manifestational frequency. So you can feel low. So you can feel destroyed. So you can feel, just not confident in yourself. Why would a God make life so hard? Why would a God make it hard for you to climb a mountain, to get to the top? And you actually have talent and you have significant viability to get out of a volatile situation, utilizing your music prowess, utilizing your musical talents and elements and other types of functionalities and bring it into actuality. Why would a God stop that? Why? You tell me. Why would a loving care? Like, I don't get people who really are religious in these times, like religious, believing in, that's the Lord. It's like, are you serious? Kissing his ass is not going to, do you not know this God? Okay, this person, the Ark of the Covenant was about to fall. This person touched it and this God evaporated him in an instant. That's love. Look what happened to Moses. Moses led the people out of Israel, or Moses led Israel out of Egypt in the Bible, right? So Moses was loyal to this God. And he made one little mistake. I guess he tapped the rock and didn't give this God praise as he tapped the rock and the water came out of the rock. I guess the Hebrews were in the middle of a desert and they were begging for water and all that. Moses hits the rock. Boom, water comes out the rock, like some type of magic magician. But he didn't give Yaldabaoth any praise. So Yaldabaoth pretty much cursed Moses and said, you'll never see the promised land. That's messed up, don't you think? Because Moses did a lot of things in the Bible for Yaldabaoth, and yet it didn't matter. He'd make one mistake and boom. Why would you want to be in a heaven with a God if you make one mistake, boom, he sends you to hell? Why would you want to be around anything that negative? Why would you want to be around something that's so evil, something that's so vile, something that took your divine spark, your soul, and trapped it in the blood, flesh, and bone, where you got to work a job, you got to go to school, you got to use the bathroom. How do people not understand that is not normal for divine entities? Any God, like earth is a hell prison for divine beings, for divine gods, is what I'm saying. I know it's hard to look at yourself as a divine God because we've been brainwashed to think that we're nothing. We've been brainwashed to think that your job correlates to your existence. If you're a trash guy, let's say you're a trash man, you take the trash out, you pick up people's trash from their houses. Okay, so that equals that you're not really an important member of society, even though you're fundamentally and essentially providing an essential service for the city and for people, taking away their trash. Imagine if we didn't have trash people. It would look like medieval England, you know what I mean, with King Henry VIII with the Tudors ruling, right? Trash everywhere, defecation everywhere, people throwing stuff out the window like ancient Rome. It's just, there's a reason why the Black Plague happened. Let's be real, right? But as you start to see more clearly and precisely in this world, you start to analyze different situations. You're like, damn, why did my breaks have to damn, I just did some extra overtime at work. I got a little extra money. Oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna get that new video game. I'm gonna get something to cope with. Man, I can't wait. Just a little life fuel. Boom, your car brakes break. You know what I mean? And that's like $500, $400, $300 or whatever. Then boom, your money gone. Then boom, then it's like, damn, you had extra money. And then now your car breaks and then this happens. And then maybe your PS5 breaks, or you're like, damn. And then now you're trapped. And then now you're in a low vibrational frequency. Right before, when you got paid and got your money, you were happy. You're like, yes, I'm so happy. Yes, it happened. Yes. And then something happens and takes away that and puts you in a low vibrational frequency of depression, of stressing, of jealousy or whatever. All those are low vibrational frequencies. Being jealous of somebody is a low vibrational frequency. That's a sign of insecurity, And it's crazy how even people like us who make these videos, we got people like, you don't know who's watching your videos. You got people that are watching you that are probably just, that are jealous of you, and you don't have a penny to your name, but they're still jealous. It's crazy, and these things and these beings are Hylics and NPCs. They're agents of the demiurge, Schizo Dumps makes excellent videos exposing this. So go subscribe to his channel, Schizo Dumps, and you get a more in-depth presentation of archonic behaviors and patterns. But when you look at the world today, we have more than enough to feed everybody. With all the technological advancements, we have prefabricated housing. When the houses are pre-made and prefabricated, we can create entire new cities if the government wants. They can send billions and billions of dollars to America's greatest ally. But people like me who are homeless, who got nowhere to go, got no place to lay our head, we're always surrounded by depression, stress, and we always got evil, toxic people around us. How come they can't make a city, take a few $1 billion and have like prefabricated houses built and make a city? Or have people like us teach us how to build little houses and stuff and teach us, and bring little robots, whatever. Like, just how come you can't just help the people that really need help in this world? That's what I'm saying. And they have the power to do so. There's no, bro. Do you know that restaurants throw out so much food? And some of these restaurants, what they will do is this: when they throw out good food, let's say like the restaurant made some good chicken or whatever, and it's nothing wrong with the chicken. It's fresh. It's just that nobody bought the chicken that day. The restaurants throw it out in the back, and then some of these restaurants, or a lot of them, what they do is they put bleach and stuff on the chicken. So if anybody gets that chicken, they got bleach on the chicken. You see how messed up that is? You like think like, who would be that evil? Because sometimes homeless people like me, we would like wait around little restaurants or whatever, and when people throw out fresh food, hell, it's in the trash, but it ain't dirty. Like the food, hell, like, we're homeless. Shit, we ain't got no choice. You got to eat. You know what I mean? Like a Viking warrior. You got to do what you got to do. So we'll go. You go behind the trash can and try to get some food to eat. Right? When you're that desperate and when you're in that position, that's how you know life is real. Don't listen to nobody whose life is good, When somebody's life is good, they don't see all the impurities and imperfections of life because their life is good. But when you have restaurants that do that to make sure homeless people don't come around and make sure they don't get free food or whatever, it's not free food. The food is not fresh. Well, it's technically fresh for the day, but it's not like brand new piping hot, but they still throw it away. They do this to cakes, pies, anything like that to stop people from eating. And then they make these benches where they design it so people who are homeless can't sleep in these parks and benches. And I understand seeing certain people that don't have a home, they have psychological issues, they may defecate in the middle of the street in front of everybody because their mind is gone. They just don't care. I understand people who are wealthy don't want to see that because it's unsightly. But why don't you go into the forest? Alaska is big. There's so many places. Cut down all these trees and start building homes for people in our position who are poor and poverty stricken. Do you want us to just pass away? Are you trying to neutralize us and get away? Is it Agenda 21? And it's funny. When I Google Agenda 21 now, they call it a conspiracy. The AI that comes up on Google calls it, it's been debunked. It's a conspiracy theory that's been debunked. Sure, Google. 666 Google. Yeah. Of course you're going to say something debunked when you're there to destroy the people. They always say, don't listen to anybody that's telling you that something's been debunked. The Central Intelligence Agency, they have a psychological division, meaning that they have a program that's designed to control people's minds. So they'll tell you something like, oh, there's no such thing as Epstein Island. That's been debunked. Many people were saying that's been debunked before the evidence. Then when the evidence comes out, oh my God, the evidence. Oh wow, yes, yeah. And then I can't stand people who are saying that there's no such thing as no Illuminati. That's not real. Then when evidence come out, they're the first ones waving the banner about it. It's like, bro, you wasn't in the trenches with us. You wasn't learning this secret knowledge that's not taught in college. You wasn't learning the secrets and facts and factors of this world. We live in a demiurgic world. That's what we live in. We live in a world that's orchestrated to leave us annihilated, that's orchestrated to leave us devastated, right? Sometimes, man, I really wish I can transform into another dimension. I really wish I can go to a place where we're accepted, we're not rejected, and we can actually, whatever you can truly think of, you can create. Without any restrictions. In this world, there's so many restrictions. There's so many things that are placed upon you. You're forced to go to work every day. It's not a choice. You're forced to, right? You're forced to get water. You're forced to use the bathroom. You're forced to do these things. These are natural things that you're forced to do. And it's all for naught because in the end, you're going to pass away anyway. It doesn't matter how many times you eat, how much water you drink. Eventually, your body's going to give up on you, and you're not going to be able. You're going to have a hard time breathing, and then you're not going to be able to breathe, or whatever. How you're going to pass away. Your heart's going to stop, right? And you're going to feel your body shutting down. It's not like sleep. It's more terrifying. And then you know what's happening, that you're finna go into another dimension and you're finna encounter the archons and be soul trapped and get your memory wiped and then go through the life review, right? You go through the life review and all that, the judgment, what they say. Then you get your mind wiped, and then either you're going to go to hell or you're going to be reincarnated to this hell again, thrown to another dimension. And who knows, and like I said, there's no guarantee there's no guarantee that will happen. But based on the Gnostic principles, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen when we pass away. You're going to get judged, you're going to get your mind wiped, and you're going to get thrown into another body, into this dimension, or you're going to get sent to a hell, right? Or you can try to escape and get to the pleroma, but good luck with that. There's a lot of knowledge that I don't even know of how to get to the pleroma, right? So I don't know what happens when we pass away. If anybody says they know exactly what happens, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I know for a fact I don't know what happens. Like for real, for real. I have my theories and I have my predilections and predictions, but I can't say with 100% certainty that's what happens. I can't tell you that. But based on my observations and everything I've seen, yeah, that's what's going to happen, right? Just based on this wicked and sadistic, twisted world. There's like no way we're going to live a hell life like this and then just pass away and escape. No, this whoever controlling this is going to make sure we suffer even in the spirit world. There's no way in hell this God's just going to let us escape and just have a happy life and be able to live life on our terms and just dictate our existence. Have you noticed that in this world, you can't really dictate your existence? The systems are already set up for you to be integrated into them. And people that say, oh, this, that, and this, and da, 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 everybody says, like they talk about people, that the boomers, oh, just get a job and get a job. These people are some of the most ignorant people ever. And then you got people in this position, you got people around this position, the same position you are, talking about you're a loser, you don't have a job. It's like, really? It's like, you're in the exact same position I am. And if you don't like me, why the hell are you watching my videos? And why are you even why? Why are you spending your time watching my videos? You don't disagree if you disagree with me. There's plenty of people out there. You can watch Blue Pill Normie 2097. Watch him. Life is good, guys. Believe in Jesus Christ, guys. Oh yeah, yeah. I just met this my wife's boyfriend said that I can have some of his pizza later. Oh my God, guys, yeah. Listen to him. Go listen to him and see how your life turns out. Right? Listen to him, and you're gonna listen to him. Right? Listen to Blue Pill Normie 2097. Listen to him. Don't listen to me, bro. I'm raw and uncut. Go listen to somebody. If you don't like me, you don't like my voice, you don't like what I say, then why are you spending? Why are you here? Right? There's millions of channels out there. I speak on what I see. I see the world as evil because it is. People are evil and wicked. I know that most of your problems in life is going to come from people. It's going to come from being around people that you should never been around in the first place, but because of your poverty-stricken position, you're around them. Notice that the jobs that you get when you're poor, everybody's miserable. You got some of the most degenerate people ever. And even when you're rich and wealthy and work these bigger jobs like in Wall Street or whatever, there's still degenerates there. There's still people that are evil, wicked, and sadistic, but except they have millions of dollars to cover it up. And when you're broke and when you're poor, you can't really cover it up, right? When you're in the position that we're in, life becomes incredibly difficult, especially when you're a creative like me. I love to create, man. I like to create new things. I like to make music. I like to rap. I like to write. I like to paint. I like to that's what makes me feel alive, creation. And when I'm in a world that punishes us for trying to achieve careers in creation, it sucks. This God makes it extremely difficult for you to make money doing what you love for a living. It makes it extremely, easy for you to get into a position where you're trapped financially. I've talked to so many people telling me that they have a job, but it feels like they don't have a job because every time they get paid, they got to pay rent to their parents. They got to pay rent to this person. They got to pay rent here. And it's like, damn, they can't figure out a way to get out. And the only way to get out really is, try to make a business. But the problem is, like I said, I know, so some people, they just can't get it through their heads, but there's a demiurge. There's definitely a spirit. There's definitely somebody that decides who makes it and who doesn't make it. There's definitely an entity that's an enemy to humanity that makes us turn to insanity, and it dictates who gets what. There's a reason why PewDiePie made it. There's a reason why the Rad Brad made it. There's a reason why Moist Critical made it. And people doing the exact same things they've been doing for decades can't even get 1,000 subscribers. Not monetized, not this, not that. Like they're trapped. And it's like, what did that person do? It's like the demiurge decides a lot of things. And don't think because the demiurge allow you to have something that is good for you, the demiurge would do this. How you not know that person was on the verge of committing seppuku? Then the demiurge, okay, I I'll let you get monetized, I'll let you get this, but it's not going to be a lot of money. It's not going to be nothing life changing. So I only did that so you won't end yourself, so I can keep on loose farming you and harvesting your negative energetic manifestational frequency, right? We have to take this into consideration, man. I want you to look at this. Listen, like if you don't get anything from this video, get this. Look at your life. And look at the events that made you sad, that made you depressed, the way your dad yelled at you, the way your mom told you the mom cussed at you, the way your uncle tells you got to get a job. Look at all these events that happened and look what you were doing previously. If you were in a moment, you were playing Skyrim for the 1,000th time, you're playing Skyrim, using your magic powers or whatever, and you're in the zone, you're locked down, you're in the zone, you're having fun, you're happy, and then somebody bangs on your door, and then they take you out of that happiness, and then a negative event or negative circumstances are then replaced, and then now you're sad, miserable, and depressed, and you're distressed, and you're like, what the freak? How does this happen all the time? Look at that. And I want you to say, is that just a coincidence? Do all these negative events just happen by coincidence? Or is there something that's orchestrated these events so that way we can produce loose? We can produce this negative energy that these evil beings feed off of, right? And a lot of people, they just go through this life thinking that, oh, well, whatever we see is real. Whatever the government tells us is the truth. And I'm like, bro, they got secret societies where they talk to spirits, right? You may not believe. It doesn't matter what you believe. You don't believe that. But the people, there's an owl in the back of your American dollar. There's all type of your American money. Just look at your money. And not just in American money, but American money is the most prolific. But look at your dollar. Just type in Illuminati money. And there's videos that's showing you all these secret societies. They put their coding, they put their quotes, they put their secret satanic spells on the money. There's whole videos that expose this. This is not new, You live in a world that's magical, literally magic. You live in a world that's magic, right? Right? And the dark magic is spelled with a K, right? The magic with the K. That's the dark evil magic. You live in a world where people understand the interdimensional beings that can give certain people powers and give them certain prolific and prominent and dominant positions. And these people are put over us. They tell you that magic isn't real and then use magic against you. They'll tell you, oh, it's just fantasy. Oh, it's just make believe. Why do you think they're showing it to you? I think Schizo Dumps made a video about this recently, where they show you what's real, but they put it in a fictional context. So they'll show you magic, they'll show you dragons, they'll show you giants, they'll show you spaceships, and they're showing it to you. And you're thinking, oh, it's just some fantasy crap. I will never reach the stars. It takes 10 billion years to get there. It takes 10 trillion light years. Meanwhile, they have a way, what's it called? An antimatter reactor core? Whatever. They have a way they can reach light speed and get to places that are far away within seconds, within minutes, travel, you know what I mean? But they'll never tell the public that. Because they want you to be at a low rate. They don't want you smart or intelligent. They want you, you gotta understand how we've been lied to, bro. We've been lied to about technology. How do you think that 100 years ago we were riding in wagons, or I'm not gonna say we because 100 years ago I would probably be somebody's servant. That's the best word that YouTube likes, servant. But 100 years ago there was wagons. Now there's spaceships, and now there's that. Who gave the technology? It's just so you think it's just some smart men thinking around and they came up with that? You think there's no demons, no entities that are dividing people? You think there's no beings that they don't tell you that are underground or some different dimension or some type of space? Really? Meanwhile, these people be having all types of secret places where the elites go, where people like us are not even allowed a 1,000-mile radius. There's a reason why Antarctica is one of those places where all the nations and all the countries get together to say that nobody can go there. There's so many rumors about what's in Antarctica. Secret German World War II bases like New Swabia. An interest into the inner earth or the hollow earth where there's giants and monsters, different dimensions. There's relic civilizations, breakaway civilizations, relic civilizations. They got different types of humanoids and all types of things in Antarctica. There's something that's in Antarctica that they don't want the regular people like us to know about because it will break down the world paradigm, right? So if they're so good, why aren't they being transparent with us? Why isn't this God being transparent with you? Why, when you tell this God, I'm broke, I need help, and I don't got no money, I ain't got this, can you help me and bless me and put me in a position where I can be happy with my life? This God doesn't do that for you. But he turns around and blesses somebody like, no offense, but I show speed, like no disrespect to him, none, much respect, but he blessed somebody like that. That is pretty much a court gesture. Not giving people wisdom, knowledge, not giving no spiritual growth or development, just acting like a crazy guy, right? And this person's allowed to make millions of dollars. Meanwhile, you bust your ass at work every single day and get nothing in return, not even a thank you. We got to keep our heads up in this wicked world, man. Peace.